I'm Rita Wilmers, and I currently have a show up at the Hewlett-Woodmere Library Art Gallery. The name of the show is Mindscapes, and it's a series of paintings representing several things that have inspired me, such as cityscapes, landscapes.
That's okay.
It's okay. Oh, you're going to edit?
No, I'm not editing.
Why aren't you editing?
I'm going to show up the show now. That's all. No.
Why can't I read off my thing?
Do you want to walk with me around
I
here?
have what to read. Oh, so
You can walk with me. Talk about it if you want.
So there's Mindscapes, which is the original. I love faces and people. I love movement, color, are important features of my art. Texture is another feature of my artwork.
Beautiful colors. I have one little character I want to ask you about.
Yes.
I saw this little guy doing Ohm over there. Did you paint that?
I did paint that. That's a cutout.
Okay,
and
that's what I thought.
A
You know who did
collage.
cutouts too? Willem de Kooning. He used Malthus.
Move over. And I do incorporate that, not in all my paintings, but in many of my paintings. These two paintings were really inspired by my trips to Florida.
Okay. And this lady, Antonia, saw this
This lady is dressed and nowhere to go. And I'm very much into skeletons. And just about myself and where I am at the moment in time that I'm creating a piece. I did start getting into meditation gardens. And again, there's the texture and the color, and I'll use pieces of paint to collage onto the painting.
Okay, now
This, in loving memory, one of my very closest friends, Ellen, passed away about 2 years ago, and I really had a difficult time with that. And so the painting began, and it took me about a year to complete it. And then once it was completed, I felt that I had let go some of that sorrow. And the lady in the red is me, alive, trying to talk to my friend Ellen, coming up from the ground.
Okay.
And I do love the birds flying in the background, and I love water, and so I really incorporated all of that within the painting.
Beautiful colors.
And when I begin a painting, I really don't know where I'm going with it, but it just begins to evolve, and then it's really based on how I'm feeling at that moment that I create the painting, and then I know that it's done.
This one was Antonia liked very much.
Oh, fuchsia, yeah. This is also part of my meditation garden series. And this too is part of the Florida series, because we go down there and my grandchildren are down there, I have family down there.
So you're a
But
snowbird.
I'm a snowbird. I finally became a snowbird. The beauty of the part of this that I love was they were paintings initially, and then while I was looking out my sliding glass doors, I had blinds, and I decided when I came home that I would take strips of paper and start putting them so that as if you're looking through blinds out to the ocean and out to the land. And of course, the top one, Passage, many of my paintings, when I do have faces in it, sometimes I'll have clocks or watches or time in it. And basically I'm questioning how much time do I have on this earth, and who am I, and all of those types of things.
Okay.
This whole series now coming up, I had the opportunity to go to Vail with my daughter and my grandson and my son-in-law. I was the babysitter, but it was the best time of my life. And when I came home, and while I was there, I felt it's beautiful, but it did not inspire me because it was during that horrible, horrible snowy winter that we had. And then somehow when I came home and I went into the studio, I could not stop painting snow scenes. It was like I became obsessed.
We were engulfed by snow.
I was engulfed by snow. But I really thought that there's nothing, I mean, it was beautiful, but I really thought there's nothing here really inspiring me. And then it just didn't stop. It just was that was an amazing experience. And so I have quite a few. This is just a sampling of a series that I call Polar Vortex.
This one's beautiful colors.
And my daughter has quite a few of these pieces. And of course you see the little red characters, the little red markings in those paintings really represent the skiers to me. And it was very funny because I am not a skier. And it was after my knee surgery, so I was very nervous being there. And I would look out on at the mountains and I would wonder, what are those things up there? And then I realized those are skiers, those tiny little things. Okay. So mine are these tiny little red things coming down the slopes.
You look perfect.
So this is really about, this started off, I'd seen a book on these ghost warriors, and I was into the meditation gardens, and so I started with the garden part, and then I started incorporating I started collaging in the ghost warriors, and then from there, again, the texture and the drippings, and then it became like an eerie, I wanted it to be a smoke-filled scene, so that's how this occurred. And then this is the last piece I did, and I just don't know how that happened. Just did. And a lot of the pieces I don't know how it happens, but I just did it.
That's good.
Now this one really evolved. This was my last trip to Vail. It was much warmer, and so you could see the woods. There wasn't as much snow in Vail last year. And so we were staying in a place that had this babbling brook. And when I would open up the sliding glass doors, you could actually hear the brook babbling. And I thought, oh my God, now I understand the babbling brook. So when I came back, I painted it. I did a painting, but it didn't have all the snow and everything. And so then I just kept working at it and working at it. And sometimes I get to a point where I go, you know what? The hell with it. I'm just going to go for it. And I started plopping on the white paint and doing all sorts of things, and I just felt whatever happens to it happens. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'm thrilled with it.
When you get beyond your inhibitions.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And so this is Amusement Park, part of a series. This is called Joyride. And this really began after the birth of my granddaughter, Natalie.
I guess you took her, right? You took her to a ride?
I did take her to the ride, but every time we would go down the road, when I was down there, I would see this amusement park. And so I said, I just started. So I started doing, I have, again, these are samplings, these two paintings are samplings of that whole series.
This is a Ferris wheel, right?
That's the Ferris wheel, and this is,
merry-go-round.
I call this the,
Carousel?
under the big top. So it's the horses, the carousel.
We went on one the other day in Manhattan.
Oh, that's
2nd Street. I show you the video.
Oh, I saw the one in Bryant's Park. I saw, but I never went up close to it.
You have to ride it.
I know. So again, these two are black and white pieces that I just completed as well for a show. And I love doing it. I never thought about doing black and white in painting, but the prospectus was it had to be black and white. So again, I incorporated the movement. I'm also very concerned about global. This was the amusement park part of it, but the one with Neptune, I'm very concerned about global warming, and so I think a lot about that as I'm painting as well.
And where is this?
And this is called Shtetl, and this is really representative. My parents were Holocaust survivors, and so this is just what I imagine. And I do love buildings, but this is what I imagine. The darkness, the brown, old.
And what town would it be?
It's just a
Just a
town.
general.
Yeah.
I knew it was a different feeling.
And this is called Noise, and this is of course Manhattan. And that's why I call it Noise. A lot of things happen. The billboards, the building I incorporated, Washington Square Park, the cabs in yellow, the guy walking with the delivery guy down below. The one above really, I think I did that close to, I almost want to say after 9/11, just the structures. And I do love Klimt, so up in the right-hand corner, you see an image from one of his paintings. And this was done when I first moved to Forest Hills 8 years ago. I couldn't get over all the lights at night because I was coming from Staten Island, dark, quiet. And believe it or not, I don't know if you can see, but where the red is, those red dots, of course, represent the red and green lights, you know, the traffic lights. And I took rubber bands. And so there are rubber bands surrounding.
Oh, small ones.
Very tiny little rubber bands surrounding.
Yeah, we got them.
The red dots.
Okay.
And this also reminded me of the subway station, like on Roosevelt Avenue. Skyscapes I did while I was in Port Washington in a studio, and it just took a mind of its own. I was looking at the buildings that were on the corner, and then it just developed into what it developed into.
It's nice.
And this, again, I love buildings.
I like the blue sky. This is really beautiful.
And the bridge, and it looks European. I love the cobblestone. And also here I took some fabric strips and incorporated that in there. And I have the beadwork. And this is when I receive things from a store, sometimes they'll wrap it in paper, art supplies. So I use that for my textures as well. Whatever I can grab a hold of, even if I don't use it immediately, I'll hold on to, because you never know when I'm going to use it. It's very funny because one of my artist friends said to me, where do you get all this stuff? What do you do? And I go, I just keep collecting it because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Yeah, that's from a postcard or something. So it's really how my mind is working at the time. And I think for me, the most important thing is not to be afraid.
That's right.
To just try things and do things. It works, it doesn't work.
That's how you get magic.
Is this the gold type of paint that you talked to Bill about?
No, I didn't tell them about this. This is gold. Okay, these are gold flakes, gold leaf. But I got them, I forgot where I got them from. And this is shellac. These are little pieces of shellac that I use. And this is beading and then sometimes I'll use yarn. in some of my
Mesh.
pieces, and that's from, oh, that held grapes or something.
Right from the grocery store.
Yeah, from the grocery store. I don't like to waste anything. I have tea bags at home, I have the tops of persimmons at home. I have.
Excuse me.
Artist here on the sculpture.
Great. I'll have to let you know. That'll be great.
Many times previously myself. Look forthcoming. I love your stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be done in a few minutes.
Are we going to be on the screen in the cinema?
Yes, you might be. Okay, so, again, this is simple based on what you see, you know, I've done. This was very simple, but I just loved it. And when it was done, and it really represents to me the cityscape, the bridges, the waterway.
A different perspective.
Yeah. And I like to skew things and see things in an abstract way, so that enables me to express what I'm feeling at that moment.
Okay.
And this, of course, is my love, you know, when I'm in Port Washington and always seeing those sailboats. And even though I've never gone sailing, it just,
Your heart's been there.
my heart's there. It really is. And again, I love movement. And this too is, this is called Bridgescapes. And so again, it's the buildings, my love of color. And for this one, which is unusual for me, I didn't complete it. I mean, it is completed, but I really said leave the black and white and just leave it undone. So that's how that became.
It's your right to do whatever it is you feel.
Yeah, and that is what I do.
So
I don't worry about what someone's thinking.
thank you very much.
Thank
It's an
you.
honor to be able to do this for you.
Thank you. It's an honor to have you do it for me.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.